Hi guys, welcome to The Bite. My name is Jackie. Today's video is on a really easy chicken dish that I created using a lot of leftovers. Leftover sauce, leftover chicken broth, whatever vegetables I had on hand, and this was like a masterpiece. It's really similar to I think like my second or third video that I posted on here, my white wine creamy chicken, but this is more of a tomato base and there's no wine included. Although you could definitely use it if you want to. Super simple. These are all the ingredients, so let's go over them. Right, it looks like a lot going on right here, but it's all gonna come together seamlessly. So I have some chicken thighs. I've been into chicken thighs lately more than chicken breasts. I just feel like you get a better value and they're flavorful and they stay nice and tender. So for the veggies, I have tomato, bell pepper that I sliced in thin strips, and then I cut the strips in half, some mushrooms, some spinach, mascarpone cheese, which is like the Italian cream cheese. I have my spices, so Italian seasoning, paprika, garlic powder, and onion powder, some garlic, one onion that I have diced into like these little half moons, some heavy cream, just some store-bought jarred pasta sauce, like marinara sauce of your choice. And normally I use chicken broth, but I actually don't have any right now, so I'm using vegetable broth. You can use vegetable broth. It will change the flavor a little bit, but this is what I have, and that's what cooking is about, using what you have. I am definitely an advocate for that, and not feeling like, oh, I don't have this, let me go run to the store so I can make this one recipe. No, just use what you have and it'll work perfectly. I also have some olive oil, salt and pepper, and I like to eat this with pasta. You can use any kind of pasta you want, but I got this from Trader Joe's. It's called Gigli, but this is what it looks like. It has like little curly edges and it almost kind of looks like the edge of a lasagna sheet. I love this and it works really well with this dish. So what I'm gonna start by doing is mixing up all my spices together and adding it to my chicken along with a slight little drizzle of olive oil, just so that the spices have something to adhere to. All right, this is looking good. Let's head to the stove and get this all going. So I do want to mention that I did add salt and pepper to this off camera. I forgot to do that on camera, but I did add it. And now I have my nonstick pan. I really like to use a nonstick pan for this because I feel like you can get a good brown crust without worrying about it sticking or too much left on the pan. So I'm just gonna lay them. The side that is smooth, I like to lay that down first whenever I'm cooking chicken thighs. So you wanna make sure the pan is nice and hot so you can hear that good sizzle. And you see what I mean? How the flat part is on the bottom and the kind of textured part is on top. So I'm gonna lay all of these down. And if your pan is smaller, you wanna do them in batches so that they get a good brown color and they don't steam, because if the pan is too crowded, they'll just steam in their own juices, and you want that crust. So I'm gonna let this cook. I'm gonna flip it over, get a brown color on the other side, and then we'll move on to the next step. All right, so I'm taking out the last of my chicken. Look at that brown color. That's what I want to see. So the chicken is not fully cooked yet, so don't go taste testing it right now. We're gonna finish cooking it in the sauce that we make. Let me take that little piece out too. So I'm adding in my garlic and my onions and collecting all these brown bits that the chicken left, and it's gonna lend this sauce so much beautiful flavor. And the spices are already coating those onions and garlic. That smell is what it's all about. So I'm gonna cook these, let them soften, and actually at this point I even wanna add my bell peppers because all of these together are gonna cook well and not release too much water. Shortly, in a bit, I will add my mushrooms, and those will end up giving off a little bit of water, but it's gonna work beautifully, promise. So I want to kind of get these in a little line and have these develop the same brown color that I got on the chicken. So I'm going to let these sit. While I do that, my water has come to a boil, Your girl can't talk tonight, obviously, but I'm gonna salt this water because we wanna season every layer of the dish. Stir that up and then add in my pasta. This pasta is so good. I really recommend it. If you can get your hands on it, it's delicious. So you wanna kind of time it. This pasta takes between 5 to 7 minutes, and this dish won't take too much longer. So they'll finish around the same time. So let these cook. Let's see this color. Nope, needs a little more time. So I'm gonna let these sit, get caramelized, and then we'll add the rest of our veggies and create the sauce. So I'm starting to see some color develop. It's looking good. I'm gonna still let this sit, but I am going to add in my mushrooms. I still have those tomatoes, but those have a lot of, water content to them. So once it seems like the oil has sucked up, or the vegetables have sucked up all that oil, that's when you add the tomatoes, and it's gonna completely deglaze the whole pan, and then our sauce will begin to start. So again, making this into one row so that way the mushrooms can get a color too. And let that sit a couple minutes, keep stirring it, and then we'll add in our veggies. So now that the mushrooms have developed a nice brown color, the veggies have caramelized. I mean, look at those onions. They just look, all the sweetness is coming right out of these veggies. So now is a good time to salt this because otherwise too much water would have been released from the vegetables a little too soon, and they wouldn't have developed this caramelized flavor and that brown color. So I'm gonna stir that in a little bit and add in my tomatoes. And then right away you can kind of see that it's deglazing the pan, which is what we want, because the sauce, this is where the sauce starts to develop. So stir these around, and I want to add in my marinara sauce and the broth. We're gonna save the dairy to the end because while it's hot, the dairy can kind of curdle and see, simmer down a little bit. So the sauce is gonna do its thing. I wanna turn up the heat a little bit. And we wanna add the chicken back in along with all of these juices. So when I add it back in, I wanna cover the chicken in the juices. So that way it kind of braises to finish off the cooking process. So at this point, you wanna take the lid of your pan, and if you don't have a lid, a plate will work, or just something to cover it so that it can finish the cooking process. Then we'll take the chicken out, add in the dairy, and then we'll eat it with the pasta, and that's it. Alrighty, this has been bubbling away for about 10 minutes. And you can see that the sauce has kind of reduced a little bit. The smell hits you the second you take the lid off the pan. So I'm gonna take the chicken out, to add the rest of the ingredients for the sauce. You don't have to do this. I just like to because I feel like if I leave the chicken in when I'm mixing in like the mascarpone cheese and the heavy cream, I feel like it takes away the brown color. I mean, just by me touching the chicken like that, it already kind of takes it away. So I don't want to ruin the look of the chicken. Not ruin, but I like the look of the chicken the way it is. So I'm going to take all of this out, add in my mascarpone cheese. If you don't have this and you happen to have cream cheese on hand, totally works. Or if you don't want to add this at all, then don't add it. But I happened to have this the day that I was making it, and I loved how it came out. And then we're gonna lower the heat even more. Actually, let's just turn the heat off. And let's drizzle in that heavy cream. This is where the lusciousness comes in, clearly. And I know I was kind of jumbling my words a little bit earlier, but I mean, when you have this in front of you, it's a little hard to get your words straight. Alrighty, do you see that? Ooh-wee. My pasta is done, by the way, so I am ready to dig into this. I'm gonna add, and by the way, this was a brand new plate because, like we said, the other chicken was not cooked all the way, so I don't wanna contaminate that chicken. So, make sure that you get all of this flavor. And just pour that sauce over the chicken. Looks so good. The last thing I want to add is the spinach. So I'm gonna add that in just a second. I'm gonna add in my spinach. Now this looks like quite a lot. You don't have to add this much, you don't have to add it at all, but I think something like this needs a punch of green. You can add parsley if you want, but to me, I just like to add as much green as possible wherever I can. And this will wilt down tremendously. As we all know, spinach and a lot of greens in general tend to do that. So let this sit, let the residual heat make the spinach react to it, and it will wilt, and I'll meet you back at the table. See how that spinach wilted down? This just looks like the perfect amount of spinach. For me, this just adds that pop of color that I think this needs. To me, every dish kind of needs a pop of green. So that really does it for me. So I'm gonna take a little bite of this, and it's so tender that you can literally cut it with a wooden spoon. Sauce. And of course I need a little bit of pasta too, because this is one of my favorite pastas. Okay, moving in. It's as good as it looks, if not better. And now I know why this was so popular on my Instagram stories. Because, man, it's rich and it's creamy from the mascarpone and the heavy cream, but just enough, not enough to give you that buttery kind of feeling on the top of your roof or your mouth. It just works seamlessly. And the color is this beautiful burnt orange amber that just makes you want to eat it. It's such an appetizing looking dish. This is my ideal meal for a weekday, especially considering I'm using a whole bunch of leftovers from my fridge. Customize it to what you have in your fridge. If you have zucchini, that would be delicious in here. Kind of do it the same way that you would add the bell peppers. You want to get that brown color on them first. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I really hope you make this because it's so easy. And I know that you guys probably have a good portion of these ingredients on hand already. So thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more and hit the notification bell to be notified of when I post a video, and follow me on social media. All that good stuff will be in the description box down below, and you can find the recipe and the directions on my blog. So thank you for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you next time on The Bite.